And we're back. We've got here an AC30 Custom Classic 2X. Let's check it out. Hey, what's up guys? I'm under the hood of this Vox AC30 CC2. Kind of showing y'all some after photos and updates to it. I've already had all the work done, assembled, and got some new speaker jacks installed and did the work I needed to do to get it up and running. It's been a little bit of time since I had filmed the videos of me doing the repair. I've actually already been able to gig at least once or twice with the amp, and it's working just fine. So only little gremlin I had to work out was the effects loop was causing some intermittency. The switch that turns the loop, or the bypass switch that turns it on and off, was probably dirty, and so I was getting some intermittent problems where there weren't any sound coming through the amp at all. But got that figured out, cleaned, and it hasn't presented any issues this far, and I've been able to put another couple hours on the amp playing through it. So yeah, so please check out the rest of the video, taking you through the process of restoring a pretty good condition Vox AC30 CC2X with the blue alnico speakers. Came in to me, I bought it from a fella. It wasn't working, but now it is, and it's ready to rock again. So follow along, and I will do some sound demos in another video. So see you guys in the next clips. Okay, what we have here next to my Vox AC15C1, really nice kind of Vox amp. Needs a little tweaking, so I've modded it just a little bit, but it's a great sounding amp. You can tell the AC30 is a bit taller, a bit wider, supporting the 2x12. Pretty good condition. Let's see, there we go. So yeah, gonna have to get it out of the chassis. It's a little dusty across the faceplate on the outside. That's going to get cleaned up. Jacks, knobs all look fine. There's no scratch or burring marks from anybody trying to do some work in the chassis, so all looks good. It has the 16 8 ohm speaker out switch there. It's got an 82 and a 50 ohm bias, which, to be honest, it's kind of nonsense. Those are the values that they put in the amp, but they're not the values that EL84, or at least with the wall voltage that we have going these days. These values need to be increased a little bit. Anyways, we'll get to that. Next, we have the 2244 microfarad, kind of a smoothing capacitor. It's filtering in the power supply, changes the bass response, changes the kind of the initial attack of your notes. But that's a little bit into the minutia to me. Anyways, here we have the effects loop. Probably just gonna clean them and check them out, make sure it's good. What you can do to avoid getting dirt or these jacks causing issues, you can just go ahead and put a patch cable, or if something has the off switch, hopefully it just bypasses the whole circuit. But if you don't have the off switch on an effects loop, if you're not running pedals in through it, you can just go ahead and just put a patch cable, and that'll hopefully avoid any unnecessary cutouts during a gig. Classic foot switch and fuse and IEC. So, all right, let's take the back panel off. Okay, the first thing I've noticed, checking this fuse, you can use a screwdriver, but if you just push your thumb and twist, Usually it'll come right out. The fuse looks good, but what I noticed when testing it here, it is actually no good. This is the, looks like the HT fuse. So hopefully we don't have any bad arcing in the amp. But we're going to have to get a 500 milliamp fuse. I've already took the existing 4-amp fuse out. It shows signs that it is also no good. Let me get a good here. There we go. No good. You can see the separation of the wires on the inside. So something is obviously causing some pretty bad failure. Let's take a look under the hood. Okay, here we are with one part of the AC30 CC2x. This is the output board with the filter supply here. Not sure if there's been any work, but I'm probably going to change those out. A little bit higher voltage, same values. I don't know how long these have been in here, and while I got it open, I'm going to go ahead and replace it. This is the cathode bias resistor. It's 82R. I might bring that up just a tad, and here's the one that goes in parallel with it. Whenever you flick to the hot to warm switch, these two in parallel change it to 50 ohms instead of the 82, so it makes the bias a lot hotter. But 82 is actually already quite hot. Going down further in resistance just makes it wear on the tubes more, makes them want to fail. But I don't see any other than just some flux stuff kind of around the tube sockets. I don't see anything that's in bad shape. One thing I do notice is that the rectifier tube has this pin tube sockets, and these are, so there's no through hole component, or there's no eyelet for or lug for these wires to be soldered onto very well. So I don't know if that is factory or if that was someone else's rework replacing this socket. I don't see anything other than it does look like these are, so these are rivets, and this rectifier is different than the others. So I don't know if that's just because we went from a no-volt to an octal socket. Not sure. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. But anyways, the fuses here test to be good. So we're going to flip it, check out the other part. Okay, we have the preamp board going into phase inverter and output board. Got some ribbon cables that kind of run to the other boards. We also have the PCB for the pots. All seems to be good. I don't see any signs of damage or previous work. Maybe I'll have to check online. Haven't done a whole lot of homework on this amp just yet, but I do know that I'm going to be changing out probably these plate resistors and doing some coupling cap changes. And let's see here. There's a resistor that I'll probably change that's in the normal channel. It just kind of drops the drops your guitar signal quite a bit going into the normal channel volume. So it's like, I've heard it stated, it's like having your volume that only goes up to about 10 or 11 o'clock. no higher, because that resistor is limiting it. It's kind of blocking it some. So we're just going to jumper it, and we'll have a full range volume, a little more output for the normal channel. So, all right, time to get these boards out and ready to work on. Ooh, this thing's dirty. Some people have been trying to glue on the knobs, which is not a good thing. They do come off, but there's better ways to keep them on than using whatever that is. But all right, I'm gonna take the pots off, get the boards out. Here we are with the board for the pots. See R49 there. That's the one that I'm going to essentially take out of the circuit. Just cuts your signal, makes it quieter, or it just limits how much you can push the amp, and just kind of not necessary. We're going to jump it, give us a fuller range. Switches, everything looks good, just really dusty and dirty. So I've been going through cleaning the pots, and we'll put her back in. Here we are with that 330K resistor, orange, orange, yellow. That's 330K. R49, we're going to put a jumper wire in, be good to go. And here we are, little jumper wire, ready to go back in. Good morning, everybody. Starting to do some work. Got the board pulled up. See all the traces there. You can see some components that I've clipped out, or I'm working on getting clipped out. And some resistors swapping out, and we'll have it done here in a couple minutes. Good morning, everybody. Been doing some work on this thing, so I've got it pretty dismantled and taken apart, but things are coming along. So got more caps, 2 more to put in. I've been replacing some stuff, and got the preamp board done. Things changed the way that I wanted them. Really, some of it was just for me. Some of it was just a way to make it a little more like the vintage ones. So, still some cleaning to do. Button it up, and then see if she plays. Didn't go as much detailed on this one, just because it's a little more techy and involved. So, I'll give you guys a rundown when it's all buttoned up. Probably a good time with a good light to show how dusty we got in here. Pretty bad. Gonna get it cleaned up. What we got here? That's just a loose wire. That's not for the amp. Dusty speakers. I removed those. I'm gonna have to rewire the speakers. I'm gonna do it so that the speakers are not hardwired into the side of the chassis, or inside the chassis. I want to put them on 1/4-inch jacks where you can plug in and unplug these speakers, because I'm actually probably going to do a demo with both of the blue alnicos, and then what I may do is have it where it's one blue alnico and one Celestian greenback, to see how they kind of work together. That'll be a fun demo. So, reverb tank, Accutronics, is it? Yeah, Accutronics. It is the 9EB2C1B. So there's a few different iterations of short decay, medium decay, and long decay. I think this one's the medium. I could be wrong. I gotta look that up. All right. She's a dusty. Time to clean it up. Okie dokie, the final thing I'm doing here is I'm bumping up the screen grid resistors to 470 ohms, 470 ohms. It just makes the tubes a little more reliable. They're not gonna accidentally burn out or randomly burn out. And then the grid resistors, these 1K5s are fine, but you know, they're kind of flimsy, small leads. What I want to do is replace them with the bigger kind of 1 watt carbon films, a little bit of a thicker lead, just to hold sturdy. It's not a necessary thing, but just a kind of a extra reliability thing for me. So, yep, let's get these done. Okay, here's a quick topside view. Got some changes in the first stage of the preamp. Redid some coupling capacitors, interstage coupling capacitors of my choice. It's just something that I wanted to do with this amp. Didn't really have to do with getting it to play again. But while I had all the boards up and stuff like that, I went ahead and did those quick changes. Just better capacitors, higher voltage rating, especially to handle the startup rush of current voltage and all that yada yada. But yeah, went ahead and did the bypass capacitors for the cathodes. That's about all to see here. You'll see in a different video, but the R49 went ahead and bypassed that. So yep, cleaned the jacks here, and this is where I was having the intermittency. Something with this switch that bypasses the send and return was having some issues, but now I still just have it bypassed, and then hasn't presented any other issues. Speaker out, extensions, foot switch, fuses been replaced, all that stuff was good. All the pots were cleaned, disassembled everything, made sure the solder joints were good on this board and the pot board. All that's good as far as I can tell. I looked pretty close. And then secondly, here's the output board. We have the screen resistors, the pink ones here. Increased the wattage a little bit. Stayed well, I also increased the resistance value. That's going to help these EL84s have a longer and happier life. Replaced the grid stopper resistors for 1 watt carbon films, just so that the leads were a little bit bigger and they'll withstand vibration for a lot longer and a lot better. So all the solder joints are good. I changed this paralleled cathode resistor and this the cathode resistor that is always in circuit. I've put a couple hours on it. It's looking good. It is 8 watt. The original one in this amp was 10 watt, but the voltage across this resistor is well below 8 watts still, so it'll be just fine. And replace the power supply capacitors while I was in here. That's just something I did. It wasn't really something as far as fixing the amp that I needed to do, I guess, in a sense. So I think what we had was a bad rectifier tube that was causing the mains fuse and the HT fuse to blow. The heater fuses here were just fine, still good, kept the original ones. So I got a new rectifier tube, and because I do not have a tube tester to test the output tubes, I could just put them back in here and see if they played fine, but I went ahead and bought some new JJ EL84s. I'll show you in a minute. They've worked they sound great. Everything's been good, so I'm going to stick with them until I can get the old rectifier and old output tubes tested. May do that here soon. But anyways, that's what I am pretty sure was wrong with the amp. It was just a bad rectifier tube, because it would turn on and play, but once you start going up in volume and having larger current draw from the rectifier when you're playing at louder volumes, I think something was occurring here. But I cleaned the socket. The new rectifier tube has been working just fine, putting out the correct voltages and whatnot. So yeah, that's been the majority of the repairs and kind of updates that I wanted to do. I've got one more thing to show you here. I added speaker out jacks to go to the two 12-inch speakers in the cab. Originally, this amp only has 2 slots. One for, no, actually it has 3 slots. 2 for the reverb, which are typically, I believe, here and here, or here and here. And then the speakers are hardwired through, and they come in through a grommet in one of these holes. But I don't quite like hardwired speakers, because at some point I might want to try a new speaker, and maybe on the fly, and having that hardwired just makes it a little more time consuming. It's not like it's impossible, but this is an easy thing to do for me. Just sorry about the camera here. I've got 2 speakers. They are both in use at the same time, one to each speaker, and the everything still works as normal. So, yep, that actually makes up all of it. I did do a bunch of cleaning, got a bunch of dust, stuff like that out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this back in the cab, take a final look at it, and in another video I will do some sound demos. So see you in the next clip. And here we are with the new quad of JJ's EL84-4. It's kind of a higher gain EL84 as advertised, so you kind of get that nice amp overdrive at a kind of earlier, lower volume. So just wanted to try them out. So far it's been doing good. I may just toss in some regular EL84s at some point. All just kind of some trying, experimentation kind of stuff. Got a Softech 5AR4. Works just as a GZ34, and biases just great. Probably about 95%. So, and that's kind of where you want to be with these cathode biased EL84 amps. Just kind of helps the tubes and the amp last a lot longer, have a longer life without having to swap tubes so often, because the only complaint I have with this amp right now is that the tubes are the least accessible things on the amp whenever it's in the cabinet. If you have a preamp tube that starts to go on whack, or you need to replace it, you have to take this whole thing out of the chassis, which is quite a process, just to throw in a new preamp tube, or to kind of put in a new quad of EL84s. So that is kind of a design flaw, but oh well, we'll deal with it. We'll still rock and roll. So, all right, guys, catch you later. All right, here we are with the Vox AC30 CC2x. I've got the master volume almost all the way up right now, and I'm going into the normal channel with the volume about 11 o'clock. On the normal channel. I can use the tone cut to make that a little bit brighter. Here's the bright channel, or the top boost channel. Volume's about the same. About 11 o'clock. Tone stacks set at noon as well. With the standard EQ. Master volume most of the way up. Tone cut is, we'll just keep it down for now. Killer. So I think I'm going to hang on to this one, at least for a little bit. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Keep rocking on.